Well. Good afternoon or morning. Well, after exactly afternoon. We hit a 12 and a nose. How bizarre is that? Good afternoon, or
Perfect.
find people of the internet as Love Beer Radio, a special lunch slash brunch edition of the show. For
hmm
why? Because the Joe has to go do stuff, so we decided to do it early. We didn't do it last night because we had a bottle share, and now both of us feel like doo doo, and we're gonna do the show anyway because we're warriors like that. We're we don't quit. Well, we can do quit all the time, but I mean this is fun. So anyway, I'm Matt from Massive Beer Reviews. And Joe from APR Beer Reviews. What's
AP
going on, buddy?
reviews. How's it
Yeah,
going?
yeah. What's going?
Yep.
High energy on this show today. I anticipate a high energy level.
Oh yeah, I'm like energy off the charts here.
Joe's drinking some water. I am drinking a beer because hey, I do it for you people.
Somebody has to.
Hmm.
Ugh.
Oh, that's actually good. It's like a mimosa. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, it's your it's
What are you
the
drinking?
the little IPA that you made.
Oh, nice.
Um, yeah. So yeah. Let's do a show. First off, news and stuff. What do you got? Anything good? Besides a
I got
huge,
that.
yeah, that sounds like
Uh,
a news flash.
yeah. Do you want to do a little post bottle share wrap up thing? Like talk
Yeah,
about
let's do that.
the.
Let's do that first. Let's talk about. We did a bottle share last night. A little Joe was
Oh
in,
yeah.
invited a couple people. Ended up being pretty much four of us, right? One, two, three, four. Yeah, four of us. Me, you, George, the incomparable George, and Bradley, aka Meat Smoke, aka Creeper Brad, aka the General, aka a whole bunch of other things. And yeah, we drank some beers. So yeah, you have them in front of you. Let's go over them. You do a
So
little.
first up, we did some home brews. First beer of the night, which was just the two of us, was the Ska Autumnal Mole Stout. So,
Which is a nice little lead in because today's show we're going to be talking about breweries and their relationships with quote unquote media and stuff like that.
yeah,
And this was a beer that was sent to me by Scott Brewing. We don't get Scott Brewing out by us. And I figured I knew I'd get there. I'm usually the first person at the bottle shares because I'm a punctual fella.
yes.
And I figured I'd bring that one just because there'd only be me or you sitting around. So yeah, I liked it actually. I'm a big fan of it. Can't wait to review it.
Yeah, I thought it was really good. I liked the heat from the pepper and that like the cinnamon that was coming through as well. That was really neat.
Yeah. Yeah, nobody. What we do next? Next one we did was Fall Saints. Was it?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, Fall Saints. We did Fall Saints from Kane, which was their I guess you would say quote unquote their pumpkin beer, even though it's not pumpkin, it's butternut
Yeah,
squash.
it's butternut squash and sweet potato.
Yeah, and molasses and cinnamon and all that stuff. It was absolutely fantastic. One of my favorite
Yeah.
beers of the night. But that's kind of par for the course when it comes to me and Kane.
Yeah. Then after that, we did.
Homebrew, maybe.
I think we did a Galaxy homebrew that Brad brought over.
Yeah, which
Uh,
wasn't too shabby. It just tasted a little bit old.
yeah, and then we did one of my homebrews, the rye chip barley wine.
Right, Chip Barley one, which we've talked about, and
Yeah, I think we did a
we've
review of it as
we
well.
did like a talk about thing. I don't think we really reviewed it. I don't know. Did we post it? Did I post it yet? I don't think I did. I gotta have to go back and see.
So
And then after that, we went into what was
we'll
next?
do
You have them in
the
front of you or no?
resurgence.
We might have did a resurgence. I think we went. Did we go a little bit lighter? I'm not sure. Let me see if I can bring up my photos. See if I have like a kind of. I know I have like a
Here,
picture of
I have
all
my
of them.
phone on me right now. Let's see.
It was probably the resurgence. It probably was a resurgence. The sponge candy stout, most likely.
Yeah, that's the is I didn't take a picture of the home brews. I took a picture of all the like commercial
Yeah,
beers.
so we did a sponge candy stout from Resurgence, which is absolutely fantastic. I've had a couple beers from them. I've had their IPA, which is nice, but it was a little bit unbalanced. And then I just had their cappuccino vanilla pumpkin ale or something like that. And while the spices were nice, it was just a little bit too much spice and too little beer. But yeah, this one is actually like that's the good stuff right there.
Yeah, I had this one once before, like a couple months back, and it was really good. And I hadn't had it uh, since that time, so it was nice to try it again.
Yeah, and from there, I think we went to the Arcadia. Did we do the Arcadia barrel aged porter? I believe.
My next picture on my phone is the bourbon barrel aged up all night breakfast
Okay,
porter
and that was
from
really
Triple C.
good.
Yeah, this
Yeah,
was fantastic.
that was like the surprise of the night. That not that you go into assuming beers are going to be whatever, but two things about it. One, the label kind of threw me, and two, Brad brought it. You know, it's Brad, so you can't really put much stock in how good it'd be. I'm just joking. Meat
Yeah,
smoke. Don't get angry at me, the general. Don't creep on Mandy anymore, please. Yeah, I was. I didn't know what to think of it, but it was absolutely delicious. That was something I actually probably want to track down again.
hmm I would try to track down a bottle, and then we went to the Arcadia. Right here.
Which I liked, but at the same time, I was going through it and it was like this weird kind of astringency kind of thing. And then it dawned on me, I did one Arcadia review before and I get the exact same kind of metallic astringency from that other beer. So I think it's just a brewery thing. It was
Yeah,
good. It didn't turn me off to the beer, but it was like, it didn't belong there for me. So it was good, but a little bit,
yeah. It was a little kind of like it was like you said. It was good, but kind of weird.
yeah.
From there, we have the Cane. Uh,
Anniversary. The Cane,
1460.
yeah, the Kane's new fourth year anniversary. It's a Belgian dark Solera method beer, blended, and I believe this one. I want to say this one was barrel aged because I do a Solera method. If people don't know what Solera method is you take a beer, you make it, you do whatever you want with it, you bottle it, and you save some. And the next year, you add beer. You do another anniversary beer, you add the mix to both together, and then so on and so forth, where every year of your anniversary beer is in every beer moving forward. Brewery does the same thing with their anniversary beers, the Sucre, the Bois, the Pepe, the fucking Cuvée, whatever you want to call them. They do the same thing with that. And I think this one was actually barrel aged in rum barrels, and I thought it was awesome. I love it. It's delicious. You know, what are you to
Yeah,
say?
this one. Yeah, this was really good. Um, I'm like in a weird position of like I don't know how my stomach's doing, so
Okay.
you know.
Yeah.
Uh, but anyway, next one up that I have a picture of at least is Hair of the Dog. From
Otto
the
from the wood. That probably was the winner of the night, maybe. For me. I just liked it. It was weird. It was very I don't know, like cherry sherry, like you know what I mean? It was like not like it was like what did I call it last night? It was like a JW Lee's with like fruit, I think is how I classified it last
yeah,
night.
that's how you like a fruited JW Lee's was
Yeah,
the
so it was
description.
really good. The only thing that was really kind of weird about the beer, or I should say weird, was off-putting, was the price point. That's about it. You know,
Yeah,
that sums
yeah,
it up good. Yeah.
that does.
So,
Then,
how you holding up there, buddy? You don't look too good.
uh,
You gonna be able to get through this one?
I think so. Next up, we have Boulevard BBQ or Bourbon Barrel quad.
Okay, yeah. And this one surprised me because I do like the beer, but it came off a little bit thin. It almost seemed like, and this is where my theory of barrel aged beer shouldn't be aged super long. Some do hold up better than others, but this where you usually has
Here's
a
the
nice.
thing, though. I'm looking at it. We are the best buy date is January 8th of 2015.
Yeah, so we're still within that period around. And actually, that's my guess is that they released it January 8th, 2013. So it's 2 years old almost.
Probably. Yeah.
So, and that's my guess, and that's my whole thing where people talk about aged beers and they're like, oh, barrel aged this, barrel aged that. I'm like, I'd rather age bottle conditioned beers over barrel aged beers because you don't know what's going to happen half the time. And this to me is kind of like a Belgian quad should age like a maniac for a decade or two.
Yeah.
So this goes to show you when you throw it, age it on something like cherries, cherries or
It's
wood or whatever, things
it's
can change.
16% ale, 84% ale aged in bourbon barrels with cherries.
Yeah, so I mean, it's a beer I typically like. I like it probably. I'm going to say right now, I probably like it newer rather than older, because when you get it newer, there's a bit more body to it, and you get a nice tartness to it too. And that wasn't really there with that one.
Yeah, I could see that. Then from there we have Nickelbrook, Bolshevik Bastard.
Which is always a nice beer. I really enjoyed it, but I think it kind of got lost a little bit last night between all the beers we were drinking. Not that it's a bad beer, but I think we were drinking some sandwiching it in between some pretty a lot of caramel flavors last night. A lot of like candy, like nougaty kind of caramel and toffee like stuff last night. So when you throw just a base RAS in the middle of the mix, you get a ton more roast and a ton more toast, you know what I mean? And it's just like, it just seemed like it was good, but it was not the right place for that beer, I don't think.
Yeah. Yeah, you summed it up pretty good. This was just to get George to give it a whirl.
Yeah, give it a whirl.
Then next up, Dogfish Head 120.
Which is always great. I love that beer. Older the better.
Yeah, this was the first time that I've had this beer.
I forgot that. I totally forgot that was the first time you had that beer. That's pretty cool. What did you think? Talk about it if you have the words.
If I remember. Ugh. Sorry. It was good. I think I would definitely want to try it again on a fresher palate to like really
see what it was all about. Because at that point, we were going beers were coming hard and fast at that point.
Yeah, that was like toward the end of the night where we were just like fucking drinking. Just like hot, like there's a whole difference between like tasting beer and just drinking. And we went from the realm of tasting beer and like really talking about the beers that we're having to let's just grab something off the shelf and just fucking crack it and drink it.
Okay, so we did the 120.
What
did we do? No. Didn't we do Thirsty Dog, the Siberia night, then 120? We did Wolver Siberia, then 120, I think.
Okay, I absolutely 100% do not remember opening Siberian Night.
Okay, I do. I totally remember. I remember clearing it with you. Actually, you know what it was? Remember, I grabbed all three. I grabbed the Wolver, the Siberian Night, and Dogfish, and I held them up, and I go, "Which one do you want to do?" I'm like, because I was, and then you're like, well, "Let's do the Wolver," and I put the other two down in the bar, and you go, and you literally went, "These are on deck." Do you remember that moment?
I do remember that. I just don't remember fucking drinking it. Like,
so I think we did.
Like I know that part, but I do not remember cracking that beer.
Yeah. So in some order we did 120. We did Wolver first.
I stopped taking pictures at this point after 120.
Actually, that guy is the one we started doing right after we finished all our core bottles, I believe. This is the first one I pulled off the shelf because you're like, "What do you want to do?" And I saw it in the back, and I was like, "Are you talking about the Stevens Point barley wine, right?"
The whole hog, yeah.
Or Sevens Point, or whatever, whoever makes it. Yeah, and that was a cool beer. I liked it. It was a bit thin, a bit.
You grabbed it because of the ghetto label.
Yeah, and the ghetto-ness of the label. So that was a fun one because it randomly caught my eye, which is weird because it was in the back left-hand corner of the shelf. I don't know how I saw it, but
yeah. I love how when I do remember opening this, I'm like, "That's a twist off cap," and George is like, "The fuck it is,"
and I'm just like, which is fantastic. I remember that. Yeah. So then we did that, and then we went through a couple of the other ones. That's right. And I think we did Wolver. Probably Wolver 120 and then Siberian Night. All great beers. But like you said, at that point, we're just kind of drinking for the sake of drinking.
Yeah, we also did a 2011.
I forgot about that. Yeah, 2011 Bigfoot, which was pretty delicious. I like the 14 better because I remember you asked me. I think that's what ended the night, right?
I think so.
Yeah, let's just assume that's what ended the night. That was because I really wanted to try it because you know me, like I'm like I like my Bigfoots to have about 20 years on them, and then but then I had a 2014 the other day and it was really good, so I was like, oh man, let me I want to try something older, see if maybe my brain is changing, but they differ from year to year so much that one was good, but it wasn't as impactful, I guess you'd say.
Yeah, that wraps up the bottle share.
This is, and I'm doing the first thing.
I cannot believe that I completely forgot drinking the
Siberian. Which is weird because we drank the Siberian, but we drank the Bigfoot after, and you remember the Bigfoot.
Yeah, that's real fucking
time. It's called time travel, buddy. I'm actually doing a first right now. I am doing a show about beer. I am drinking a beer, and Mandy is texting me for when I want my coffee. Like I'm drinking a beer from before my first coffee of the day.
Idea.
It is. It'll be good after this. So.
The might be better idea.
Yeah, put a bunch of that honey in it, baby. So yeah, I mean we did the bottle share. It was a good time. We had a bunch of good beers, and then that's that. So that's a good one. News wise,
news. Oh, I should talk about my trip down to Springhouse.
Springhouse. There you go.
Yeah. It was interesting. We just went to the tap room. We didn't go to the brewery itself. They had some good beers on tap. I started with their Velma Saison. And it was nice. You know, it was just a kind of Saison, but I think the weather-wise that day it was pretty rainy and kind of crappy out, so that wasn't really doing much for me. I just kind of wanted to start with something a little lighter. But the second beer that I had was their. Well, let me get the actual name for it. I have it on my Untapped. I think it's Blood Turning Black. Let's see if I'm.
Which has to be a porter or something.
Yeah, Blood Turning Black. Coffee Coconut Porter.
Okay, I remember you telling me about this one.
Yeah, and that did it for me. I should have I should have started with that beer. Um, because like I said, the just situationally, like day wise, doing the like going down there and it's kind of rainy and like a little colder. You know, a saison really isn't something that you kind of want. Like I think starting out with a porter would have been a little bit better. But I really really enjoyed that beer.
And then what happened? It was I think it was you went down Wednesday. Was it Wednesday you went down?
Hmm.
And then it was like you came over. You and Amanda. Did you come over? Was it Tuesday to do gaming stuff when we did the gaming stuff? I think it was maybe.
No, we did that on. I think we did that on Wednesday.
Okay. Well, regardless of the situation, the night before you're going down, and he said, "I'm going to Springhouse," and the first words out of my mouth, I'm like, "Screw those guys." So what happened was is just to kind of give a note for what Joe's talking about. He's going. He said he's going to Springhouse. I'm like, "Screw those guys." I do a radio show on the weekends, and the way the show works is that a brewery sends us beer. We talk, we drink the beer, and then a brewer calls in, and we talk to the brewer. It's a pretty good show. Everybody, they get publicity. We get to try new beer. Anyway, Springhouse is what? What did it take you? Less than 2 hours, an hour and a half to get there? Not even 2 hours, maybe.
Lancaster, yeah.
Yeah. So
No, it was
like,
on the podcast. I told you about it. It was on the podcast last week.
okay. Okay, yeah, and so there you go. It was on the podcast last week. I already talked about it then, or was it beforehand? Before it went on the air. Regardless, long story longer and keep it short. They were supposed to send us beer and they had multiple chances to do it. They didn't do it. And to the point where one of our guys was going to a festival and Springhouse was there. And they still kind of reneged on, they didn't renege. They just kind of like let the whole thing die of its own momentum. So they kind of just irritated me a little bit. But anyway, anything with coconut sounds delicious. So I want some now. So I said I'd never pay another dollar for their beer, but now I still won't. I'll just try to get some for free. Anyway, so that was a nice trip. Did you guys go anywhere else besides that brewery? Or just there and then home?
We went to a bottle shop that was close by, called the Friendly Greek.
Anything good?
And it was an all right bottle shop. It was like a pizza place, bottle shop kind of thing. I heard about it the couple of days before I decided I was going to go down. I think it was Springhouse was doing something there. And then I looked up the bottle shop and it's like, oh, big bottle shop, like biggest bottle shop in the area or some shit like that. Um, and then I get there, I'm like, okay, this is nice. Like they have some decent beer, but overall I wasn't too impressed with
Yeah.
their selection.
Mm,
And I
I
picked
mean,
up.
go ahead. Sorry.
Uh,
Well, see, the thing is with that, we tend to be spoiled with you,
mhm.
with us having access to Sabatini's, and then you passing through Premier Gourmet on your
Yeah,
way back. It's kind of like you get a little bit fucking spoiled. So when you go
you
into a
do.
place, you're like, if all existed in our brains was Krugel's and J and H, it might have been a cooler place.
Yeah, really.
You know what I mean? So yeah. Um, what else? Is that about it?
I think that's about it. Yeah.
Let's see. News on our end, my end. They threw out the lawsuit they're doing for the whole Blue Moon isn't craft beer and we're being fooled lawsuit thing.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
that got thrown out. So that's
Of
done.
course.
Let's see what else. The Wheaties beer came out. Did you see that?
No.
A brewery in Wisconsin, I believe, teamed up with Wheaties and made a Hefeweizen with Wheaties. And it's like branded with Wheaties on it. It's like a Wheaties beer. I remember hearing something about it a while ago, but I know it actually is at market now. And let's see what else. Like I said last night, Brewery does their Black Tuesday release every year around this time, and they have a lottery, which is the lottery is basically a lottery to give you the opportunity to give them money, which I think is the funniest lottery
Yeah.
ever. Usually, when you win a lottery, you win something, but you win the ability to give them money, which is retarded. But I also won, so I bought some beer. So there you go. So yeah, so what are you thinking? How you feeling, brother?
Uh, kind of feeling kind of shitty, to be honest.
You want to cut this one short?
Stomach's
Maybe.
all over the place. I don't know what's.
Yeah, you're
Hmm?
holding it back. Do you want to cut this one short?
What?
Maybe pick up the show at a later date and skip a week, or what?
Uh, let's let's talk a little bit, and then I think I personally I do not know if I could do a review. I feel like I'm gonna take a sip and be like, "Ugh, done," and I'm gonna be
Yeah, yeah.
running up the stairs.
Let's keep it short and quick then. How's that sound? No
Yeah,
beer review. We'll save that for another day. Take that one with you to Canada.
I
Maybe
will.
we'll set it up for next week. And let's just do it quick. I mean, we'll do a quick, a short little Love Beer Radio here and talk about. We're basically going to talk about the relationship between media and beer. And when I'm talking media, I'm talking everything, whether it be magazines to little beer review people to whatever you want to call it. I mean, it seems like it's like not to give it like a sports analogy thing. It's almost like sports like I don't believe there are brewers that are really cool with it, and there are breweries that are cool with it, and there's a lot that are kind of dicks with it.
Yeah,
But there's the extreme on both ends. There's the ones that are really cool, and then there's ones that are dicks. But in the middle, I think it's more like a they view it as a necessary kind of middleman evil thing, kind of like not necessarily evil, but where somebody's like, okay, in a perfect world, we would just sell our beer and people would like it and buy it, but we know that there are these outlets for these people to talk about it, so we have to, deal or not. I don't even want to use super negative terms like placate, but they're just like, okay, we don't have to, but that's part of the game, so they deal with it. You know what I mean? So that's kind of like the whole vibe I've always gotten from it is that it's more like a, you know, kind of sort of have to. But like I said, there's some breweries that are awesome. There's some breweries that flat out choose not to do it. You know what I mean? Like they choose not to do anything, whether it be really do a bunch of interviews or do kind of have their beer reviewed or anything like that. Some flat out review. And I know Vivint Brewing is one of them. There's Treehouse Brewing is another. Not Treehouse, sorry, they do stuff. Night Shift, Rogue is another one. Like there's a bunch that just flat out refuse to do it. Then there's breweries that are just all about it. You know what I mean? They're like, cool, man, yeah, you fucking knock yourself out. You know what I mean? So,
yeah,
but then there's that middle of the road kind of thing too, where it's like, okay, fine, what do you want? Here you go. Hopefully, write something good.
yeah. And do you think like this whole topic was kind of was suggested by Amanda, because she's doing for her project at school, she's doing like let's play videos, and the whole thing behind let's plays are, there's or game reviewing in general, there's a kind of like developers will get pissed and try to pull like YouTube copyright things if if a reviewer gives a bad score or a bad review and really bashes a game, they'll try to get it pulled off of YouTube.
Yes.
Um, and I don't know if there's the same kind of thing in in the beer world, but do you think that breweries, if we were to give a bad beer, like a review, like if we were to review a bad beer, whether it's an infection or just something like it's just not a good beer, and we say that, do you think breweries then have a kind of should they be pissed if we're like something's off with this beer? Like what's going on with this beer?
Should a brewer be pissed? Someone says their beer sucks. Yes. Should a
Yeah.
brewery manifest their anger into either blackballing or shit talking? Probably not. There's a difference. You know what I mean? If anybody creates anything and someone shits all over it, yeah, that's not. I wouldn't like that. You know what I mean? But at the same time, you can't just be like, okay, this person said my beer wasn't the best beer they ever had, so now fuck them and their stupid ass. It has to be like, there has to be kind of like a balance there. But here's the thing: I think there's like a checks and balance there, though. And that there's a couple breweries like that let shit out, but like I don't remember the last time I had a beer from a larger, and I don't mean large as in like gigantic. I mean, a decent production brewery that was so bad I wanted to shit all over it because that they've gotten that big for a reason. And also they're not going to let something that shitty leave. It's kind of like when, I work in the tattoo industry, and like you're not gonna hire somebody who does shitty stuff, because then if somebody does something shitty, then it represents you as a whole. So you know what I mean? Everything you do has to be done well. And you are a good place because what you do is consistently done well.
Yeah, like so, when you get to a certain size brewery, you have quality control people. You have people that know, that are like sensitive to certain things, and they have the say. They have this beer's fine, put it out, or no, this beer's off, dump it. There's those people. So I think the times that we see beers like that probably shouldn't have made it out to the public are breweries that are small and they don't necessarily have the means to do like super in-depth quality control, but basic quality control is not hard, But I think it's like the small, you typically see it from the super small breweries or the breweries just starting out where they can't necessarily afford to not put something out the door.
But then there's also like breweries that like how do I say it? They do like, there's a difference between a bad beer and a beer that you don't like, because beer is subjective. So you have to like kind of like, if you're gonna review a beer, you're gonna do something with a beer. You're gonna be like, first, okay, this isn't my kind of beer, but I could see why somebody would like it. That's not a negative thing. That's saying, hey, it's not for me, but I'm reviewing it anyway, and I could see how people would really like this because it has this, and this going on, but it's just not for me. But then there's like, like perfect example, like I reviewed like another. I don't do it on purpose. Stone came out with their fucking carrot cake beer. You know what I mean? Like it was a carrot cake beer, and I reviewed it, and like everybody uploaded reviews all at the same time, and I already had one. I had it sitting. I had it for 2 weeks sitting, and I was like, "Oh fuck it, I'll upload mine at the same time, so everybody can kind of go back and forth and watch everybody else's shit." And then like it was like I didn't get it. You know what I mean? It was another one of those Stone thing where I was like trying to be too cool for the room, and it was like it's like, okay, like everybody else is like, how do I put it? Everybody else is like giving like, I think I get icing and I think I get raisins, and I'm like, I didn't get any of that shit. And not to be like a dick, but I'm like, I don't think anybody gets that shit. Like I think you're just reading it because you think it's there. Like that's the thing. Like it's not. And I'm like, this is what I got. I'm like, it was average.
Like there's a certain level of suggestion. If you're looking at a beer label, I could see from here, I have 4 beers lined up: the Hardywood Coffee Stout, Gingerbread Stout, Warlock, and Pumpkin Retribution. I could read all of those labels and guess that there's coffee in the coffee stout, or there's a particular gingerbread or pumpkin spice in the other ones,
Yeah.
And I think there's a certain level of suggestion with not just beer labels. If you're if you're in a group of people, either one of us, like separately, and if we're in a group of people who don't necessarily drink a lot of beer or aren't particularly comfortable saying what they get in a beer because they don't want to feel wrong,
Yeah.
we can suggest by just saying something that they'll now pick up that flavor,
Yeah.
because they like I said, they may not be comfortable enough really vocalizing what they're getting, so they could be getting nothing, and we say, "Oh, this has raisin in it," and then all of a sudden they're like, "Yeah, I got raisins in there,"
Yeah.
you know.
Well, me, it
So
was more. They should have had more with that beer. It was basically, it did say carrot cake inspired beer, but it was very just like, hey, we're making a beer that's gonna taste like carrot cake, and it didn't taste anything like carrot cake. And that was when I made the joke, the Pat Oswalt joke, and I'm like, yeah, there's vanilla in there, and there's fucking, and there's vanilla in there, and there's cinnamon in there, and whatever. But just because it has vanilla and cinnamon, and that doesn't mean it's carrot cake. Do you know what I mean? It's just parts to a carrot cake, And it's just like, and there's shit like that where you can be like, okay. And at the same time, when I reviewed it, I'm like, this is not a bad beer. It's not bad at all, but it's not a carrot cake beer. It's not. You know what I mean? Like, and that's the whole thing where it's like, if Stone were to watch it, which I'm sure they don't, you know what I mean? But if they were to watch it, they would be like, fuck this guy. He's an asshole. They'll be like, I didn't say anything really. I didn't say anything. I didn't say the beer was bad. I actually didn't mind the beer. I liked it. I drank the whole beer. But it wasn't a carrot cake beer. Like, don't sell me something. Like, there can be a difference between good and not what it's supposed to be. There's beers that not necessarily even out of style, but when you promise something in a beer, you can actually review it and give it, the difference between like BJCP and fucking just liking the beer and be like, I'm not judging it. And that's actually even different. I'm not judging on style. I'm just saying, you're telling me the beer is like this. And it's not like, someone says, okay, here's a Belgian beer. I'm expecting all these things. I'm like, okay, you can go with a bunch of different ways of Belgian beer. But if someone says, I'm going to give you a coconut coffee porter, and it doesn't have any coconut or coffee in it, you're like, this is not a coconut coffee porter. Like, why did you write coconut coffee porter on the beer? So it's like, sometimes you can even be.
I've had a similar thing with Grey Monday from the brewery, which is one of the variants on Black Tuesday, and the label says hazelnut. I tried the beer. I'm like, there's no goddamn way there's hazelnut in this beer. I didn't taste it at all. Amanda said she did. I'm like, all right, I believe you. If you say that you thought you could pick up the hazelnut, cool. I could not pass the alcohol heat. I couldn't pick up anything.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I mean, and we're getting a little bit off kilter here, but it's like, it's a thing where but it's a thing where, like, you can't. How do I put it this way? I understand you don't want to shit on a brewery just to shit on a brewery. Who the fuck wants to shit on a brewery just to do it? Well, maybe I would, but who wants to? I mean, like, you can't just say everything's good. That doesn't do anybody any favors. You know what I mean? You just can't be like, okay, this is awesome. You know what I mean? Like, everything is awesome and nothing ever sucks. I get it. Some people go out of their way to only post articles or reviews when it's a positive article or review. That's a little bit different. You know what I mean? Than trying to find good in every beer. You know what I mean? Like, or trying to say every beer is good. There's a difference there too. But there has to be some kind of counterbalance. There has to be a yin to the yang. There has to be, if you can't just, how is somebody going to take you? How is somebody going to take a brewery? I shouldn't even exclude the brewery from it, just from a reviewer's standpoint or a journalist standpoint or a writer. If all you do is say things are awesome, then who the fuck's going to want to read you or listen to you? Like, it's like, you know what I mean? Like, you're not doing anything for anybody. You know what I mean? You're just saying shit's awesome all the time, and that's not the truth. There's a lot of shitty shit out there. So I don't know. You shouldn't shit on beer just to shit on it. But at the same time, you shouldn't just like sugarcoat stuff just to sugarcoat it. You know what I mean? Like, just because you're afraid a brewery won't send you stuff, or you're afraid now people aren't going to read your stuff because a brewery's going to not like you because you said something negative about their beer. You can't be like that. You have to not give a shit. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah,
It's
and
weird.
I think I've kind of gotten out of that because like if I had a brewery, you know, and this kind of goes into our next topic of like our personal experiences with breweries and all this kind of stuff. I would if I got something from a brewery, I would feel like I then needed to speak very well about their beers. You know, for example, Capital City in Virginia. Well, they have two. They have two locations. One of them is in downtown DC. The other is in Virginia, like a couple minutes outside of the city. Excuse me. Um, and we went down to an Oktoberfest. Um, whole whole story was Amanda wrote a review of their brew pub, and the their head of their PR guy contacted me to come down to like a media dinner. So I went down, and then they invited us down to their Oktoberfest, and we got like media passes, so we got in for free and got like free beer tickets. Um, so we went down to that, and they had like a smoked Oktoberfest or some shit. And I'm like, this is okay. I'm not typically a big fan of smoked beer, but I'm like, this is pretty good. And I don't know if it was the fact that like I'm there for free, I'm drinking for free because it was a token based system
Yeah.
instead of like an Electric City Brewfest where it's just a fucking free for all. You know, this is like tokens, and um, you had like your ticket got you, I think like 5 tokens or something. You could buy more. So we got all that shit for free. So I don't know if it was the fact that I'm down there for free and all I had to really pay for was the hotel room, which was super close by. Actually, not super close by. The Firestone Walker tent was right outside our hotel door. Uh, uh, so I don't like I said, I don't know if it was the fact that I liked it more because I was there. I felt like I couldn't be like I don't like smoked beer. This was not for me to their face, you know, because I'm down there. So it was a weird thing. I think now I would have been like now probably I'd be like I'm not a smoked beer guy. Like they don't really do it for me. No?
Yes, yeah. I don't care. I also, I won't. If a beer sucks and the brewer sitting in front of me, I'm gonna be like, I'm not that big of an asshole. I'm not gonna be like, yeah, this sucks. You fucking suck. I'm not gonna be like that. I'm just gonna be like, yeah, it's not for me, dude. You know, if they keep pressing me, I'll be like, like if I was like, yeah, I'd be like, it's not for me. But if I were like, if I got something to review, I'm not gonna give it bonus points for freebies. You know what I mean? Like it's like it is what it is. I'm not gonna be like, okay, this is better because it's free. It's not how my brain works. You know what I mean? Like like when that Italy place sent me their beers, they re-reviewed a couple of them, and they did score slightly higher, but because they were IPAs that were meant to be fresh, and these were months old or weeks old as opposed to years old. So it made sense they're a little bit higher in score, but I still didn't give them great scores. You know what I mean? I was like, it is what it is. It's a little bit better, and that's all there is to it. You know what I mean? So because I couldn't do that if I actively knew I was being like partial because of that. I'd have to kick my own ass or something. I don't know. So yeah, I think this is the portion of the show where we do a beer review. So we're not going to do that. I'm just going to say I'm drinking a beer and Joe's not, so that means I win.
Yes.
I kind of want to coax you into doing a beer review just to see if I could see to run off screen really fast. Anyway, um, so I mean, let's
I'd be
sipping and done.
I'd be
Yeah,
wasting a beer.
yeah. So I mean, you already touched on it. Like you went down and you kind of got you asked to come down by that brewery. What other kind of experiences have you had with one-on-one with breweries and shit like that?
Um, I mean, a lot of stuff with Three Guys and a Beard. I've done like brewery spotlights, and I do genuinely like their beer. Not just the fact that I mostly get it for free. Um, I do like their stuff. Their stuff can be better, um, and I think they have they have room to grow, um, just in process wise, and just kind of like really getting their shit together. But like I said, I genuinely do like their stuff. Then Breaker as well. I did a like um, like a brewery kind of half interview, half review thing with a dude that teaches at Misericordia. That was the first time that I met Breaker. Nothing ever came of like the videos, and I have a feeling that this second time around, nothing's coming of these videos as well, because I did it once. Asked him like, "Hey, I'm coming home this time. You got any more breweries we want to go to?" And I heard fuck all. So both times I got to. I mean, the last time I did it was at Rusty Rail, and I loved all of their I loved their stouts. The one pale ale was real good. The IPA was okay, and the blonde ale was blonde ale. But like I said, their stout was real good. And if nothing ever comes of the videos, I know another brewery. That's
Yeah,
like
nah,
on my end. I now have more of a connection. So like I know the guys at Breaker, and I got them on the show because of my relationship with them. Um, I haven't had like negative interactions with breweries doing my reviews. I did get. I was tweeting. I sent a tweet out like reviewing some of the beers from Pizza Boy, and like jokingly, the dude from Al was like, "Oh yeah, we know our beer sucks," but it was like ha ha ha,
yeah.
like we're terrible. Um, but like I said, I haven't really had any like negative things from brewery. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think. Dry leg was probably only went down there. That was probably the most in depth thing I did with a brewery, where it was actually going down there, being invited by a brewery, going down there, hanging out with them, doing the whole nine. That was fucking awesome. But I that happened because I really do like their beers, and that's the difference. Is that I did a bunch of reviews on their beers and liked them all, and then the dude invited me down, which of course the dude was like, "Hey, you like our shit? That's awesome." But it's like there's no influence there. I was like, I didn't review their beers under the pretense of being like, hopefully, hope these guys asked me to come down here because I wasn't going to fucking
Yeah,
Pittsburgh for
and that
nobody.
was
But
that
I
was kind of
did,
the same thing with Three Guys and a Beard and me.
yeah. And then a lot of like I have a lot of like I guess you'd say relationships via like email and shit with breweries, but that's different. You know what I mean? It's just a couple
Yeah,
emails back and forth doing shit like that. But I'm not. I'm starting to get a bit more mobile. Like I did a thing where I went like down to like the right outside the Lancaster area, where I went to like Saucony Creek and Avalanche, Golden Avalanche, and then Stouts and shit like that. That was fun. And then this weekend I'm going to Carton and Kane because for the radio show we're doing a thing on Kane, so we're going down there to pick up the beers. So that'll be a fun little thing. So it's certain everything I've done with breweries has been generally positive. As far as like emailing back and forth with some breweries, like I said, the ones I know for a fact, like Vivint and Rogue and Night Shift, like it wasn't. And kudos to them, they were like, yeah, we don't do that. And I wrote him back. I was like, cool, man. I get it. No worries. Yada, yada, yada. Thanks for getting back to me. Breweries never write back. Whatever. I know they're busy. You know what I mean? And I actually like the fact that breweries are like, we don't do that. So someone actually said, we don't do that, to actually take the time to say that. I don't know. I guess is a cool thing. And there's some breweries that are awesome. Like I talk to, and they're just cool. You can tell they're excited about what they're doing. So it's like Jackie O's, Distill, breweries like that are just like, I don't know. They're just, the way the emails are, they're just different. You know what I mean? Go ahead.
I think with the breweries that don't do that and actually take the time to respond and be like, "Hey, listen, we don't do that kind of stuff."
Is better than no response. Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's better than just being like, fuck this guy.
Yeah. No, and that's what I mean. I wrote him back. I'm like, thanks for letting me know, man. I appreciate it. If you ever, please put me on your, fucking press release list. And if you ever change your policy or whatever, let me know. I'd like to blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? So I actually do like that. So, but I mean, it's like, but it's not, like I said, it's not a negative that breweries don't care. There's some breweries that don't even, some breweries that are so popular, that they don't need it, that wouldn't do anything for them in any form or fashion. You know what I mean? Like, there's some smaller breweries, a lot of New England breweries that are so popular that they almost don't want to advertise because they don't need any additional. Right now, they're capped at max capacity and they can't do anymore. So why would they want more publicity? Because they can't produce enough as is. You would wait until maybe you expanded. You actually, okay, we could actually use some more sales. Now maybe we'll see what's what as far as doing stuff like that. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
it's like one of those things where it's like good and bad. Even like Dogfish was cool in a way that they're like, listen, they're like, we do that, but we have 19 million people that ask us every day. So unfortunately we can't do it for you right now. And I'm like, okay, if anything ever changes, let me know. And I could see that at like bigger breweries or like, imagine how many people are constantly like poking and prodding around for shit like that. So
within you explaining that 100 people have emailed Dogfish Head looking for stuff.
yeah, pretty much. So yeah,
that's kind of what I'm where I'm going, what I'm getting out of that.
It's a weird thing to deal with breweries because I think a lot of time. I don't know. I think a lot of times it's how do I put it? At least you got to know some shit, like to be like when you're dealing with a brewery. Like if all you know is you like beer, and that's it. I don't think it comes off as well. I mean, not that I know a lot, infinitely more about the brewing process than I do, but I can kind of hold a conversation about the process, and I think that goes a long way. You know what I mean? To be like, okay, you know what I mean? Like, you actually have to give a shit because it's almost like it's like the it's the same thing as music and movies, man. There's music and there's musicians and actors, and then there's movie critics, and then there's music writers. You know what I mean? Like, there's a difference. So it's like there's always going to be that kind of like I don't want to say like wall or divider between the two, but it's like if someone really likes music and writes about music and then talks to a musician about music, the musician probably respond. But if that writer was like, yeah, man, I was in a band for a while and I tried to make it and I didn't make it, but I love this and I like this. I like the way you do this with this guitar and how you do this. Obviously the musician's going to fucking respond in a different way because they're talking to somebody that quote unquote gets it. So it's like, it also depends on like where you're coming from. So I think knowing or being exposed to a lot of different, I think knowing shit helps. And I know that's retarded and it's so generic to say it that way because knowing shit helps. But it's just like not just knowing stuff, but just like not reading out of a textbook. There's a perfect example. Like there's people we know that are just like people that just read information and they regurgitate information that they've read. Do you know what I mean? That's different than having an actual like real world application. You know what I mean? Or knowing something because you've been in it as opposed to reading about it. You know what I mean? So So I believe that all the experience I've had with breweries has been pretty good because, you know, I don't think I'm too much of a fucking asshole when it comes to that stuff. Fun.
Fun.
So yeah, man, I think that's good. I think we just did a short good little hour. That's a concise hour.
Put a good hour in.
Put a good hour in, short and sweet. Joe needs to go lay down and drink as much water as humanly possible. What I want you to do for me, though, is for the next couple hours, just imagine you have to drive for 5 hours, and that's going to be way worse.
Oh, I don't have to imagine that. I know.
And that's going to be way worse than anything you have to do right now. Like this, you're like, oh, man, it was rough sitting here talking to the internet. No, dude, you have to drive. Here, I'm going to let everybody know. Take the equation of getting from the door to the highway to the door of Joe's of getting from. Let's say I want to travel to Joe's. We live close to each other. Let's say I want to travel to Joe's college, okay, and exclude getting in my car and then getting onto the highway, which isn't too far away. There's only 3 turns. There's little 81 to the thruway, and then you make a right, and then that's it. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, like, that's worse than having windy multiple turns. Like, you're just like, make one left after 2 hours, make a right after 2 hours. That sucks, dude. So I pity you a little bit, buddy.
Gonna go get a cup of tea, lay down, watch some Netflix, then head out eventually.
Awesome. There you go. A little short and sweet Love Beer Radio on a Monday afternoon. A little brunch action for you. Talked a little bit of brewery stuff. Recapped a bottle share, and that's it. So if you want to check us out, you can find Love Beer Radio on Twitter predominantly. We do iTunes, but I've been lacking on that because of editing issues. But eventually I'll get back on that. So if you want to check us out there, you can check us out on iTunes. It'll be older episodes up until the next month or so. Let's see what else. If you want to check me out anywhere else on the internet, just type Massive Beers, all one word, into the internet, and I'm sure all my shit will pop up. How about you, Joe?
You can find me NEPA Beer Reviews at .squarespace.com and also at NEPA Beer Reviews on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
So there you go. Hopefully you guys had a nice little lunch with us. Hopefully you're drinking some good beer tonight, and hope to see you next time. Cheers.
Cheers.